Ever heard that the average high school relationship lasts about 3 weeks? That's it, just 21 days of hallway kisses and passing notes before it falls apart. But Katie and Greg Hollander, they blew past that record like it didn't exist. Try 4 decades instead. They met back when she was a nervous little freshman and he was a confident sophomore. From that day forward, they were attached at the hip. It was that kind of love that people write poems about. Felt untouchable, like it came with some kind of built-in forever. Now let me back up and explain where I come into this story. I'm Thomas Marsh, and Katie, or Kat as I called her, was my wife for 30 of those years. I really believed we had something real. Solid. I wasn't chasing fairy tales, I just wanted a good life, and for a long time it felt like that's exactly what we had. When she gave birth to our daughter Joan, it was like life clicked into place. Those early years were good. I was a happy man. I really was. But you can't outrun ghosts. And Katie had one named Greg. See, before I ever came into the picture, Kat and Greg were inseparable. Their whole high school run, they were a package deal. And yeah, she gave him everything. First love, first heartbreak, first time. Everybody assumed they'd break up like all teen couples do, but it wasn't like that. It didn't end. It just paused. Greg graduated a year before her. Instead of college, he chased money. Took a job working on an oil pipeline in Alaska with his uncle. His grand plan, strike it rich, come home and marry Katie. At least that's what she told me, over and over again throughout our marriage. She believed it, repeated it like gospel. But once he got up there, things changed. The letters stopped. The calls never came. He vanished. And Katie, left alone in her senior year, waited, clung to hope, dated some guy briefly, Sam or maybe Spencer, I don't remember. It didn't matter. Her heart was still wrapped around Greg, even if he was gone and not writing back. Apparently, he loved the work, got used to the lifestyle, started drifting, living like some ghost on the road, convinced that Kat was still out there, waiting for him to roll back into town with a ring and a paycheck. But he never did. Time moved forward like it always does. Katie went to college, earned her degree, and we crossed paths at some low-key party when she was 24. I was a little older, 29, but we hit it off fast. There was a calmness about her, something grounding. I fell hard and I thought she did too. We were stable, comfortable. I thought we'd built something real. Then 2 days before our wedding, a letter came from Greg, just like that, out of nowhere. The guy decided to show back up, said he was back in town and wanted to see her. And man, I swear, I felt the ground tilt beneath me. Katie went pale. She didn't say much, just stared at the envelope. But thankfully, her mom stepped in and laid it down straight. Told her, "You've got a real future now. Don't waste your time on that crap." Her exact words, blunt and brutal, but honest. Katie struggled, but in the end, she went through with it. She married me, became Mrs. Katja Marsh. By the time Greg actually showed up, we were already off on our honeymoon. It was too late. Heartbroken, maybe desperate, Greg enlisted in the Marines. And we went on with our lives. Katie started working as a nurse. I had a steady gig as an insurance adjuster. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills and gave us a roof over our heads. Things were good. We had a rhythm. But there was always this little static in the background. Greg started texting her, and she wrote back. I asked her about it once, carefully. I didn't want to sound like some jealous kid. Just said, "Is this really necessary?" She gave me that look and said, "Oh, Tom, don't be silly. He's just an old friend. He's single. He's deployed. He's lonely. I'm just trying to keep his spirits up." But deep down, I knew better. The texts were constant. She'd smile at her phone or disappear into the bedroom when he messaged. Her family told her to stop. So did I. But she wouldn't. Not until Greg wrote to say he'd gotten married overseas. Then the letters stopped. And for the first time in a long while, I felt like I could finally breathe. Over the next few years, we heard from him maybe 3 times. Christmas cards. Nothing more. During that quiet spell, Joan was born. And for a while, it really felt like things were finally ours. We became a team. Bought land. Built a home, grew a small farm together, raised our girl. There were moments where I thought, okay, this is it, we made it. But peace is always temporary. Out of nowhere, I noticed something weird. Our stamps kept vanishing. The mailbox started looking busy again. She didn't say a word, but I knew. She was writing him, again, and I let it slide. Told myself he was just out there playing hero, doing his patriotic thing, while I was here keeping our family grounded. If they wanted to exchange a few letters, fine. I didn't have the energy to fight over it anymore. Then, little by little, she started bringing him up in conversation. Greg says he saw action in Iraq. Greg got promoted. Greg's married again. She'd talk about him like he was some kind of legend. I tried to play it off, said, "Pretty sure Marines hate being called soldiers." She laughed. That soft, sweet kind of laugh. Yeah, I think I should watch that. But the way she spoke about him, it stung. Not just what she said, but how she said it. There was pride in her voice. Something warm. And it wasn't about me. Greg did 30 years in the Corps, got decorated like a damn Christmas tree, married 3 times, divorced just as many. He built a life that sounded like a movie script, action, medals, heartbreak. Meanwhile, I just grew older, grew predictable. And I realized something cold and heavy. While I stayed steady, Greg kept getting shinier in her eyes. I hoped, prayed even, that when he retired, he'd settle down somewhere far away, disappear into the woods or buy some quiet place in Montana. But of course, he didn't. And that brings us to now, where the past isn't done with any of us. Our daughter Joan's all grown up now, married a great guy, Frank Campbell, solid dude, respectful, works hard. They're expecting their first baby, and honestly, I couldn't be prouder. I'm 60 now, slowly inching toward retirement. Got my eye on 65, maybe sooner if the numbers line up. I've been dreaming about peace. You know, quiet mornings, no alarms, maybe a little fishing. Just stillness. Katie. She still looks like she walked out of a magazine. After all these years, I catch myself staring. She still gets to me like the first time. But peace? Yeah, that was already out the door. I just didn't know it yet. It was a regular Thursday, nothing special. I got home from work, loosened my tie, ready to throw on sweats and crash. But there she was, Kat, standing in the living room, dressed to eliminate. Full makeup, heels, hair done, perfume in the air. She looked like she stepped out for date night with someone important. "We've got dinner at 7, she said, real casual. I blinked. Wait, did I forget something? My brain ran through the calendar. Not our anniversary, not her birthday, not Joan's, nothing jumped out, but I went along with it. Took a quick shower, threw on my good shirt, tried to look like I belonged next to her. Dinner was top-notch. Fancy place, packed house, white tablecloths. The kind of spot she only picked when there was a reason, like a soft launch before dropping hard news. I knew the signs. I've been around this block more than once. So, toward the end of the meal, I leaned back in my chair, gave her a calm look, and said, "All right, hit me. Whatever it is, just say it. I'm in a decent mood. Won't flip out in front of the wine crowd. That's kind of my thing. I don't lose my temper in public. Insurance taught me that. You keep it cool. Don't give them a reaction." Kat knew that about me. Which is why, whenever she had something tough to say, something she knew would sting, she'd wait till we were surrounded by candles and waiters and soft jazz. And I could see it in her eyes. Something heavy was coming. We'd been together for 3 decades. You learn to read someone like a map. I felt it in my gut. That cold, sinking dread like the floor might drop. She hesitated, played with her napkin. Finally, her voice came low and slow. "Tom, I think you should know Greg's back." My stomach twisted. And it wasn't the food. I stared at her. Didn't blink, just waited. I knew there was more, always was. She didn't say anything else, just gave me that careful look, like she was watching a storm roll in. I finally asked, "Back how? You mean like visiting?" She shook her head, barely moving. "No, Tom, he's not visiting. He was discharged from the Marines. He bought a house 2 streets over." Boom. My whole chest went tight. I jumped in, trying to grab some logic. "Okay, and he's moving in with his, what, wife number 3? Her eyes dropped. "No, divorced again. This one took a chunk of his pension." I clenched my jaw, tried to keep it in, but I snapped. "You've got to be kidding me." It came out louder than I meant. People at nearby tables turned their heads. Forks paused midair. It wasn't the damn pension that lit me up. It was him, Greg, moving in just a few doors down like it was nothing. I needed answers. I leaned in, my jaw tight, voice clipped like a blade. "You met Greg already, didn't you?" Katie flinched, didn't say a word. Her face gave it all away. "I'm not asking again, Katie. When? How?" She dropped her eyes like a kid caught stealing, then muttered, "Yesterday. He came by, said he's our new neighbor." My chest tightened, heart thudding like a war drum, but I wasn't done. "Did you screw him?" She broke. Whole face collapsed before the words even landed. "I did, Tom, but it's not what you think." I cut her off, leaning closer, my voice low, cold. "Nah, it's exactly what I think. My wife's screwing her ex, so go ahead, Katie, make it make sense." She reached across the table, trembling like she was the sufferer here. He was a mess, Tom. Said he's got anxiety, maybe PTSD from the divorce. He needed someone. I tried to help him. I laughed. Quiet, sharp, bitter. Right. You helped him. With your body. Don't insult me, Katie. Her voice dropped, but her words hit like a punch to the gut. I love you, Tom. I do. But I still love him too. That was it. Game over. She let him back in, used his sad boy sob story as an excuse to open her legs. My fists clenched under the table. Still, I kept it together. Barely. I locked eyes with her, voice like ice. All right. What's done is done. We can fix this, but you don't go near him again. That part's non-negotiable. You hear me? She met my stare. Wet eyes, lips trembling, and then came the knife twist. I can't promise that, Tom. I love him, and he needs me more than you do. Silence, not rage, not tears, just hollow. I didn't say another word, just threw a hand in the air for the waiter. Check, please. 10 minutes in the car. Silence was a damn scream. I finally snapped, couldn't hold it. You really slept with that piece of crap, Cat? While you had a husband? What the hell is wrong with you? I shot her a side glance, voice rising. Do you even remember the vows? Forsaking all others, ring a bell, or was that just wedding day poetry to you? She broke down. Full tears. The fake kind. The kind that don't hit until they get caught. I'm sorry, Tom. I am. But he needs me. We found each other again. I don't want to lose him. I don't want to lose you either. Oh, that's rich. I let out this dry, bitter laugh, shaking my head. So what now? You rotate nights? He gets Tuesdays and Thursdays and I get weekends? What's the plan, Kat? Some kind of emotional timeshare? She wiped her nose and looked at me sideways. Calm. Too calm. What if we took a break? I blinked, thought I heard wrong. A break? The hell you mean, a vacation? Yeah, she said it like she was talking about booking a damn Airbnb. Remember when you took a year off to get your master's? You left, you studied, you came back, and everything was still okay. I damn near slammed the brakes. You're really comparing me busting my A for a degree to you getting taken for a ride down by your ex? I pulled into the driveway, jammed the car into park, and turned off the engine with way more force than needed. She leaned in, touched my face like that meant something now. Tom, I missed my last year with Greg. Senior year, we were supposed to do life together. If I had that time, maybe none of this would have happened. Just give me this 1 year. Let me close that chapter. I'll come back. I'll be yours again. Fully, better than ever. And there it was. Her little pitch. Her, please let me screw him guilt-free speech. For a second, I saw red. My hands twitched. I could already feel the cuffs, hear the news headline. Husband snaps, ends it all in suburbia. Instead, I looked her dead in the eye, my voice cold enough to eliminate flowers. Fine, you want your year? Take it. But don't call, don't text. Don't even exist to me during that time. You hear me? Yeah, she whispered. I hear you. And understand this. I stared hard. In a year, I might not be here. You might come back to nothing but dust, Kat. You understand that? She didn't flinch, not even a twitch. Just gave me this soft smile, leaned in like she was still my wife, kissed me on the cheek. You'll see, Tom. You won't regret it. I laughed once, short, bitter, almost empty. Too late, already due. That night, she climbed into bed like nothing happened. Tried to reach for me, like we were still us. I rolled away. My skin crawled just thinking of her hands. Didn't say a word. Just grabbed my pillow, stood up. I'm sleeping in the guest room. Didn't wait for her reply. Just walked away. I saw it written all over her face, that ache behind her smile. And for once, I didn't feel bad about it. Maybe that sting would shake some sense into her. Maybe whatever fantasy she was chasing would finally crash before it even took off. But nope, no such luck. Next morning, I woke up hoping the whole thing had just been some twisted dream. You know, the kind that fades once the coffee hits. But reality hit first. I walked into the kitchen, and there she was, standing by the stove flipping eggs like she was starring in a commercial. Humming, smiling, damn near glowing, like her life had never felt better. She looked at me like nothing was wrong, like we weren't standing at the edge of something breaking. Then she pointed to the calendar hanging on the wall, June 6th. The date was boxed in black marker, bold and thick like it was screaming for attention. I sat down real slow. My heart felt heavy. I stared at the number, feeling the weight of what it meant. June 6th, D-Day. The day soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy to fight against tyranny, to take back something that never should have been stolen. And now, here I was, watching the woman I married serve breakfast like it was any other morning, while she packed her heart for someone else. It hit me hard. Today, I didn't lose her to war. I lost her to a different kind of enemy. Katie came skipping over like she was handing me breakfast in bed, not walking out of our marriage. "I know you're worried, my love," she said, like I was some fragile puppy. "But just 1 year. I'll come back. I'll be only yours. I need time to think, to clear my head. This is for the best. You'll see. You won't regret it." She smiled like she was doing me a favor. "Oh, and I called Greg this morning while you were still out. Told him you gave me the green light. He'll be here in an hour." I stared at her. My blood went ice cold. "You called him? From my house? While I was asleep upstairs? You planned this whole thing like it was a spa weekend, and now you're handing me this crap like it's breakfast in bed?" Her smile faded just a little. I leaned forward, voice low but sharp like broken glass. "You know what? You're a special kind of selfish. You want to run off and screw the guy you couldn't get over since high school? Fine, but don't feed me this. It's for us fairy tale. You're not clearing your head. You're clearing your conscience." She didn't answer, just stood there like she thought the room was going to applaud her. I kept going. "You think you're brave for finding yourself? No, Kat, you're just a coward with good luggage." She opened her mouth to say something, but I wasn't done. "Let me guess. You want me to haul your bags down too, right? Maybe wave you off like it's prom night." "Can you please bring them down?" she asked, soft. I laughed. Once. Cold. "Hell no. You made your choice. So you and Soldier Boy can carry your own damn baggage. Literal and otherwise. I'm done playing butler to the woman who's about to crawl into another man's bed." Her eyes flared, then narrowed. "He's not just another man. Greg's a good man. A hero. He served— Yeah, and now he's serving you," I snapped. "Meanwhile, I worked 30 years, bled for this family, and you're throwing it all away for a guy with a sob story and a six-pack." She started dragging her suitcases, one by one, bumping them hard down the stairs like she was mad at gravity. Then I saw the car pull up. Him, Greg. She yelled, "Coming!" and turned to me one last time. We just stood there. A standoff. She was waiting for softness. She got none. "Let's make this crystal clear," I said, voice steady, hard as stone. "You go now. You're gone. No calls, no texts. Don't come crawling back mid-year when he gets bored. I don't want to see you. Don't want to hear your voice. You're a ghost to me now. Got it?" For the first time, she actually looked scared, like it was finally sinking in. "I understand," she said, barely above a whisper. "But I still love you, Tom." She leaned in to kiss me. I stepped back. "Don't. I don't want your mouth on me after it's been promised to someone else." She broke down crying, then bolted out the front door like a storm and ran straight into Greg's arms like it was some damn movie. I stood there frozen in the doorway, just watching her kiss him like I didn't exist. And man, that kiss? It wasn't subtle, it was deep, messy, like something ripped out of my chest. That fire, rage hit me hard, started in my gut and shot up into my chest like a damn furnace. 2 minutes later, the driveway was empty. So was I. That's when it fully sank in. She wasn't mine anymore. My wife had just turned into somebody else's girl. I didn't go to work the next morning, didn't call to explain. Just said I was out sick and drove straight to the hardware store. Bought new locks, changed every single one, reset the alarm, top to bottom. It gave my hands something to do, something that wasn't just sitting around drowning in what-ifs. But when I finished, it all came crashing back, and it hit hard, like getting sucker punched by your own thoughts. So yeah, I did what a broken man does. Turned off the house phone, cracked a bottle, then another, and another. I wasn't drinking for fun. I was drinking to disappear, to numb it. But the pain didn't leave. It just got blurry. By the time Sunday rolled around, the bottles were dry. Thank God. I felt like end. Mind, body, soul. Like something hollowed me out. I crawled into bed and blacked out. When I came to, hours later, there was knocking. Relentless. I stumbled around, still half drunk, until I opened the door. Joan, my daughter, standing there with that mix of horror and heartbreak on her face, looking me over like she barely recognized me. She stepped inside, eyes scanning the disaster of a house, the stink of booze, the shell of her father. Her voice cut straight through me. "Dad, what the hell happened?" My brain was foggy, pounding. "What do you mean?" She didn't answer, just grabbed my wrist and pulled me into the kitchen. Sit. You need food. You need coffee. Then you're going to explain what the hell is going on. An hour later, my hands finally steady, my stomach full. I told her everything, every ugly truth. Her mom, Greg, the so-called break. She blinked at me like she couldn't even process it. Wait, Mom wants a break from your marriage? To go relive her high school crush with that guy? I nodded. Yeah, that's the deal. She shook her head slowly. Jesus, Dad. What are you going to do? I didn't even think before answering. I'm calling out again tomorrow, then I'm going to see a lawyer. Her shoulders slumped. I can't believe she'd actually go through with this. Maybe she's having a breakdown or something. I don't know what she's having, I said flatly. She looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw something new in her eyes. That quiet heartbreak you only get when someone you love lets you down hard. I want to tell you to slow down, but honestly, I think that might be your best move. She stayed a while after that, made some dinner, gave me a hug on the way out. Just before she left, she turned at the door. Hey, you want to know why I showed up today? I looked at her. Why? She sighed. Mom called, asked me to check on you. Didn't say why. Didn't say where she was. I just nodded. Thanks for coming, sweetheart. Drive safe. Monday hit. I made good on my word. Called out again. Walked into a lawyer's office before lunch. Turns out Katie messed up. Since she bounced from the marriage without any legal grounds, the lawyer said I had a good chance of protecting my pension. Everything else? Still a coin toss. But this whole year off, she wanted. It might actually buy me the time I need to lock down the finances and cover my A. The next few weeks flew by faster than I expected. And weirdly enough, I adjusted. Kind of. There was a strange calm in the silence. No one to answer to, no one to please. It felt like I could finally exhale. But man, the quiet at night, it was brutal. Nothing hits like waking up to an empty bed that used to be warm. Then mid-July rolled in, and with it, the storm. One Saturday night, I decided to get out for a bit. Went to Flynn's, classy place, nicer crowd. I'm posted up at the bar, sipping whiskey when they walk in. Greg and Katie, hand in hand, giggling, cozy like teenagers who think love's brand new. She had that glow. He had that smug vibe. They were so into each other, they didn't even notice me sitting 10 feet away. I just watched him dominate the conversation. Watched her follow his lead like she was hypnotized. She looked at him like he was some damn savior. Then she stood up to head to the bathroom and spotted me. Her face shifted, smile faded, eyes went soft. She looked almost embarrassed, like she knew she'd been caught. When she came back out, she slowly walked over. Hi, Tom, she said quietly. How've you been? Part of me wanted to ignore her. Another part wanted to scream, but I stayed chill, cold but polite. Oh, just the usual. My wife of 30 years ditched me for some dude from her yearbook. How do you think I'm doing? She flinched, but stayed put. I need to get into the house, she said softly. There's still a few personal things I left behind. I tried the other day, but my key didn't work. I smiled as she fumbled with the door, all confused, like she forgot how life works now. Yeah, Kat. Shouldn't be a shocker. Your key doesn't work here anymore. You don't live here. You left, remember? She froze. That fake sad look plastered on her face, like she couldn't believe the world didn't wait for her. I didn't even blink. Better run back to your boy toy, I added, calm as ever. Wouldn't want him getting nervous. Might think you're having second thoughts, and we wouldn't want that. Her eyes welled up, tears. Again, always ready to cry when she doesn't get her way. She turned and walked off like some soap opera character. I turned back to my drink. Felt good. 2 minutes later, hand on my shoulder, hard. I was yanked halfway around before I even stood up straight. There he was. Greg, red-faced and puffed up like a steroid gorilla. Hey, a-hole, he barked, breath hot with beer and dumb rage. You made my woman cry. I don't like that. I didn't move. Didn't flinch. Just looked him dead in the eye. That woman you're talking about? I said slow, steady. She's my wife, or was, before you started playing rehab counselor with your prick. He clenched his fists. Big, tough guy act. I leaned in a little, voice sharp like a knife. You want to impress her? Go ahead, swing, make a scene. But just know the minute you lay a finger on me, you're not walking out of here. Cops won't care about your little sob story or your PTSD card. They'll lock your dumb A up and I'll be home sleeping in a real bed while you're sharing one with someone named Tank." His jaw twitched. I could see the hamster wheel trying to spin in his head, but there wasn't enough juice. I took a step closer. My voice dropped low, all venom. "So here's your big man choice. You hit me. You lose everything, or you turn around, sit your stupid A down, and keep pretending she loves you for something other than how you made her feel when she was bored and bitter." My heart was pounding like a drum, and somewhere deep in my brain, a voice kept shouting, "Why the hell did you poke the bear? He's gonna knock your teeth out." But I didn't flinch. I kept the tough guy act going while Greg just stood there, sizing me up, probably deciding if I was worth the attack charge. Lucky for me, the bar manager stepped in. "Everything all right here?" he asked, already eyeing Greg. Greg shot him a glare that could crack glass, then muttered, "No problem," and backed off, slow, deliberate, returning to Katie like some dog who'd just finished growling. 5 minutes later, they paid their tab and walked out like nothing happened. On the drive home, my mind wouldn't quit spinning. I kept asking myself what the hell Katie meant when she said she needed to get her personal things from the house. Something about it didn't sit right, so I tore the place apart, spent 3 straight hours digging through drawers, closets, old boxes, nothing. And then I opened the bottom drawer of her bureau and found them. Letters, dozens, all from Greg, all for Katie. And that's when the truth hit me like a freight train. This little year off she'd asked for, it wasn't some random impulse. It was mapped out years ago. One letter, dated 5 years back, read, "It eliminates me being away from you. Just knowing you still miss me the way I miss you gives me hope. When I'm home, we'll finally be together. Just figure out how to get rid of that weak a husband of yours." Each letter was worse than the last. Some were full of cheap, dirty fantasies. Others rehashed their high school memories like they were living in some teenage soap opera. By the time I hit the last one, I felt something shift inside me, like a switch flipped. And just like that, life without Katie didn't seem so tragic anymore. I didn't hear from her again until my birthday, September 1st. Came home from work and saw something on the porch. A pot, covered, still warm. Inside, beef stew, my favorite. Beside it, a card with her handwriting. "Tom, I know we're not supposed to talk, but I couldn't let your birthday go by without saying something. I think about you every night. I still love you. I know when this year is over, we'll be together again. He'll be gone and it'll be you and me like always. Please don't stop loving me. Don't give up on us. Kat." That same night, Joan called. She'd been checking in often ever since her mom walked out. After a bit of chit-chat, she got real. "Hey, Dad, you remember my due date's in 3 weeks, right?" "How could I forget?" I said. "First grandson? I'm counting down the days. You and Frank must be over the moon." There was a pause. "Well, Frank and I had dinner with Mom and Greg the other night." That hit like a slap. She kept going. "Mom wants to be at the hospital when the baby comes, and she wants Greg there too. I know you and Mom agreed not to talk for a while, but would you be willing to bend the rule just for this one moment, please, Dad?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Dinner with Greg and Katie like it was some picture-perfect family reunion? But I didn't want to ruin Joan's moment. "All right," I said tightly. "She can come. Bring her new boyfriend too, if she's that desperate." "Dad," she said quickly, "stop calling him that. He's not what you think. Honestly, he makes Mom happy. I haven't seen her light up like this in years." That was it. My temper snapped. "Your grandma called him a piece of trash 30 years ago. And guess what? She was right. And now you're defending him? Sitting down to dinner with him like he's part of the family? What's next? Gonna start calling him Dad too? Just give me a heads up so I know when to puke." She went quiet, then said softly, "Dad, I didn't mean it like that. I get why you're angry. I'm sorry." I cut her off flat. "Forget it. I've got something in the oven." "I love you," she said before hanging up. And in that moment, it hit me. This wasn't going back to normal. My old life was gone, and it was time to stop waiting around like some wounded puppy. Step 1, I started moving assets, selling things, shifting accounts, doing everything I could to lower my net worth. Step 2, I walked back into my lawyer's office and asked exactly what I could legally protect and what was still vulnerable. Step 3, I bought a taser. Might sound over the top, but I figured if Greg ever cornered me again, I wasn't going to rely on words. Step 4, Booked a solo Vegas trip in October. Needed to get the hell out and reset my brain. Step 5. Joined a few dating apps. Looking for someone who knew what loyalty actually meant and wasn't still hung up on their high school sweetheart. As for the legal stuff, the lawyer laid it out plain. Since Katie had left voluntarily and we were legally separated, I had more wiggle room than I thought. Property distribution was still tricky, but my pension, it looked like I might be able to keep that off limits. That changed everything. I wasn't stuck anymore. I had options. Then the big day came. Joan gave birth. I was at work when the call came through. My secretary picked up, then popped her head in. "It's Frank," she said. "You're a grandpa." I dropped everything and rushed to the hospital, found Joan's room, and started heading down the hall. As I got closer, I heard voices through the door. Joan's voice first. "Mom, this whole situation is insane. Are you really ready to throw away Dad? For Greg?" Then Katie, calm as ever. "Don't stress, sweetheart. I'm not losing your father. He loves me too much to walk away. Greg's amazing. Being with him feels like high school again, only now we can actually sleep together. He treats me like royalty. I've never had Zex this good in my life. I'll miss it when I go back to your dad." Joan sounded horrified. "Mom, please don't talk to me about that stuff. I get it. Greg seems great, and you two look happy. But I want my kid to have stable grandparents. I don't want this chaos. Go back to Dad. Fix this before it's too late. Yeah, he might be boring sometimes, and no, he's not Greg, but he's loyal. He's a rock. He'd never walk out on you." Then there was a pause. Joan's voice again, softer, more urgent. "I'm scared, Mom. You're gonna lose him, and you won't see it coming." Katie's response chilled me. "You don't have to worry, baby. When this little fling with Greg runs its course, your dad will take me back. He always does." And right then, I knew she didn't understand. Not who I was now, not what was coming. She thought I was still the guy waiting around, begging for crumbs. But not anymore. I walked into the hospital room with a fake smile glued to my face. "Hey there, Mama," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Congrats on the new baby boy. You two must be over the moon." I didn't even glance at Katie. Just went straight to Joan, gave her a hug, held on a little longer than usual. Yeah, it was petty. But I won't lie, it felt damn good. Katie gave me that look, the kind that could sour milk. But Joan lit up like a kid on Christmas. "Have you seen him yet, Dad?" she asked, beaming. "Not yet," I said. "Just wanted to check on you first." Katie finally broke the silence with that cold, clipped voice she reserves just for me. "Hi, Tom. How are you?" I gave her half a glance like I was looking past a stranger and turned right back to Joan, asking about the delivery, the baby's name. Anything but her. Then Joan said it. "Frank and I agreed. We're naming him Thomas, after you, Dad." I froze. Didn't say a word. I think I forgot how to breathe for a second. Meanwhile, Katie's face dropped like someone unplugged her. She mumbled something about going to see the baby before heading out and slipped out of the room. Once she was gone, I took Joan's hands, sat beside her, and let the mask drop. "Sweetheart," I said, my voice softer now. "You know things with your mom and me. It's not going to get fixed." I saw it hit her like a punch to the gut. "No, Dad, don't say that. She'll come back. She's just confused. She loves you." I shook my head slowly. She might have loved me once, but I was never enough, not for her. And now, I think we're close to the end. Her eyes widened. "What do you mean?" I looked at her with a sad smile. "I mean, I'm getting things lined up, and once I do, I'm filing for divorce." She teared up fast. "Dad, I told her to beg you to take her back, but it's too late now, isn't it?" I nodded. "Yeah, it is. The things she did, they don't fade. But don't tell her anything yet, all right?" She nodded and kissed my cheek. We chatted a little while longer, steering clear of anything about Katie or Greg. After a bit, I told her I'd swing by tomorrow and left her to rest. On my way out, I stopped by the nursery and found my grandson asleep, bundled up like something out of a dream. Tiny, peaceful, mine. As I stood there, Frank showed up with a proud grin, stepped right between me and the sight of Katie and Greg, holding hands like they were at prom. He handed me a cigar. "Here, Dad, light up. You earned it." I took it and slid it into my pocket, gave his back a pat. "Thanks, son. I'll save it for later." I looked over at Katie and Greg, still clinging to each other like teenagers. Made my stomach turn. "Hey, Frank," I said, keeping my voice low. "I'll come back tomorrow, when it's quieter and the air smells better, if you catch my drift." He nodded, lips tight. I get it, Dad. Can't say I blame you. Just as I turned to leave, I heard her voice behind me, soft, almost wistful. Tom, remember when we brought Joan home from the hospital? Feels like yesterday. I don't know where the time went. I looked at her, still holding Greg's hand, and kept walking. Didn't say a word. October came around, and surprisingly, it turned out to be the best month I'd had since Katie left. I flew to Vegas. At first, it was just to blow some cash and call it asset reduction, but the trip ended up giving me more than that. I met someone. Her name was Miranda, maybe 50. Poised, confident, still in the game, if you know what I mean. She told me some guys specifically wanted older women. Turns out I was one of them. She wasn't cheap, but damn, she made me feel like I mattered, like I wasn't invisible. First time I'd felt anything close to alive in years. She was smart too, asked questions, actually listened. By the end of the night, she probably knew more about my marriage than my therapist ever would have. When she was getting ready to go, she cut my face and said, Tom, I've only known you a few hours, but I can tell you are one of the good ones. I've met thousands of men, and maybe 5 I'd actually respect. You're one of them. Don't let that woman break you. She doesn't deserve you. If you ever come back to town, find me. Her words stayed with me. They hit somewhere deep. For the first time since Katie walked out, I didn't miss her. Not even a little. When I got back, I called my lawyer and told him to start the paperwork. Divorce was happening. I also hired a private firm, on my lawyer's advice, to dig into Greg Hollander's past. High school, military, everything. The firm was expensive, but I didn't care. Half of it was coming out of Katie's half anyway. They promised to deliver a full report before Christmas. Then I asked my boss about transferring to a different branch, out of town. He looked surprised. I'd always said I wasn't leaving, but that was back when I had something to stay for. Now? Not so much. He said he'd check into it. Thanksgiving rolled around. Joan called a week ahead. Dad, will you come to dinner? I asked the obvious. Will your mother and the slug be there? She hesitated. Yeah, they will. I didn't even blink. Then no, I hung up. That same afternoon, my phone rang again. First, my brother-in-law, then Frank. He asked if we could meet, just the two of us. We picked a quiet bar on the edge of the city. That night, Frank looked off, agitated, tense. As soon as we sat down, I ordered us both a double scotch. He didn't say much at first, just rubbed the back of his neck like he had too much rattling around in his head. I leaned back and gave him space. Finally, he spoke. Dad, you're not going to believe it. Joan and Katie have gone off the rails. It's all Greg this, Greg that. You'd think the guy was some kind of celebrity, like the Dos Equis guy, the most interesting man alive. It's insane. He took a long pull from his glass, then continued. And I know what you're thinking. I am here to try and sweet-talk you into Thanksgiving dinner, but I'm not. I came because I needed to talk. I leaned in a little. So let me guess, you're not exactly on Team Hollander? His jaw tightened. This guy's a narcissist. Everything's about him. He talks like he's God's gift. Honestly, I got a longer list of things I want to call him, but I'm trying to keep it PG. He paused, then looked a little guilty. Sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to trash her like that. I waved it off. It's fine. I'm not offended, but tell me, when did you stop calling her mom? He looked down at his drink. The day she walked out on you. That liquidated any respect I had left. I let that sit for a moment. Why's it hit you so hard? Frank looked at me, and for the first time, I saw the pain behind his eyes. You've probably noticed I never talk about my parents, and I always appreciated that you never asked. But my mom cheated on my dad. Left him, guy never bounced back. Drank himself halfway into the grave. Then she and her boyfriend died in a car wreck. He stopped for a second, clenched his jaw. I don't mess with cheaters, Dad. And now that Katie's joined that club, I can't even look at her without feeling sick. I smile for Joan, but it's eating me up. I let that hang for a beat. I had no idea. Suddenly, everything made more sense. His coldness, his anger, the protectiveness. Then I asked, quiet and serious, you said you were worried about what exactly? He took a breath, downed the rest of his drink, and ordered another before answering. You're probably going to hate me for saying this, but I've got to be honest. That old saying, like mother, like daughter, I can't stop thinking about it. If Katie's out here glorifying cheating, how long till Joan thinks it's okay to start sampling someone new too? That one hit hard. I stared into my glass and let the idea settle. Couldn't say he was wrong. Frank, I finally said, don't lose hope yet. I've got a few cards left to play. And come January, things are going to start looking real different. Also, and keep this between us, I've got something lined up for Christmas. Something just for you and Joan. The others, not so much. Frank cracked his first smile of the night. Spent the next 15 minutes trying to squeeze details out of me. I just smirked and sipped my drink. As we got up to leave, I clapped him on the shoulder. Hey, aren't you forgetting something? He looked confused. Forget what? You were supposed to beg me to show up for Thanksgiving. Come on, let's hear it. He laughed, finally relaxed. All right, fine. Dad, will you please come to Thanksgiving dinner? I shook my head, grinning. Nope, but I appreciate the gesture. Joan called me 2 more times that week, practically pleading for me to reconsider. Eventually, I had to break it down for her. Sweetheart, your mom asked for a year of no contact. I gave her that. I broke it once, for Thomas's birth, and that's it. I'm not sitting down to eat turkey with the woman who blew up our marriage. You hear me? Thanksgiving came and went. I microwaved a frozen dinner, watched football alone. Yeah, it was quiet. Yeah, a little lonely. But better than pretending everything was fine while Katie and Greg played house at the head of the table. Then December rolled in, bringing another round of holiday tension. But this time, I had a different mindset. Because this December, it wasn't just another miserable milestone, it was the end of the line. Ironically, December came bearing gifts. First, my company offered me a transfer to Spokane starting in January. I accepted without hesitation. Second, the private investigator's report on Mr. Wonderful finally landed on my desk, and it was everything I hoped for. 3 ex-wives, all dumped him for cheating. 2 kids from women he never married, still cutting child support checks. And the cherry on top. He got demoted near the end of his time in the Corps, from E8 to E6. Dude was a walking cautionary tale. Best part? Katie's divorce papers were scheduled to hit her mailbox the first business day after Christmas. Now that put me in the holiday spirit. I called Joan to ask about Christmas plans. She was excited, said the whole family would be there and begged me to join. I asked the only question that mattered. Will Greg be there? There was a beat of silence. Then, annoyed, she said, Yes, Dad, he will. And honestly, you better get used to it. He's part of the family now, whether you like it or not. I cut her off. My voice was calm but hard. You're right. I don't like it. Not even a little. But for the baby's sake, I'll show up. She let out a breath, surprised. Really? Thank you, Dad. This means everything. It'll make everyone so happy. I smiled to myself, but said nothing, because I knew something she didn't. Not everyone was going to leave that Christmas happy 2 days later. Long shift. I get home, dead tired. Phone rings. I pick up without thinking. Yeah? Silence on the other end, like dead air. I was about to hang up when I heard it. Tom. Her voice. Soft. Too soft. It's me, Kat. I stiffened. Every part of me went still. You all right? Something happened? You hurt? No. I'm okay, she said, all quiet and guilty. I wanted to say thank you for agreeing to come on Christmas. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you, Tom. I've been sitting with that a lot. Thanksgiving was awful without you. I guess I didn't realize how much 30 years meant until I cut her off. No way I was letting her go on some soft-focus memory lane trip. Yeah, Katie, that's touching, real sweet. Glad to know you're finally thinking about the wreckage you left behind. But let's not get it twisted. I stood up, pacing slowly. I told you when you ran off with Loverboy, there'd be no contact. I'm breaking that rule once, for Christmas, that's it. Don't start pretending this is something it ain't. She didn't say anything, just breathed on the line. So let's wrap this up, yeah? You said your thank you. Cool. Now go be with your new man. Playhouse. I'll see you on the 25th. And that's the end of this conversation. Then I hung up. My hand stayed on the receiver for a few seconds, heart pounding. Not from missing her, but from holding back all the rage I could have unleashed. Yeah, it hurt, talking to her like that. But not nearly as bad as watching her walk out that door like I was nothing. Nothing hurts like that. December dragged. Every day felt slower than the last, like time itself was stuck in traffic. I kept myself busy, knocking out Christmas shopping, slowly packing up for the move to Spokane. I even booked a rental car for the cross-country haul. A woman from the new office reached out. Real sweet, super helpful. She lined up some furnished places near the building and told me she'd personally show me around when I got into town. For the first time in months, things felt like they were finally falling into place. Then Christmas Day rolled around. I pulled up to Joan and Frank's place, popped the trunk, and grabbed a bag full of wrapped presents. When I stepped inside, guess who was already there? Katie and her loyal lapdog, Greg. Joan rushed over and hugged me tight. "Wow, I wasn't sure you'd come. This is such a nice surprise," she said, beaming before disappearing back into the kitchen. I smiled, kept it light. If only she knew what was coming. Frank met me at the door, shook my hand, and took my coat. "Hey," I said, "mind if I go see the little man?" He nodded. "Of course, he's asleep in the nursery." I made my way down the hall and pushed open the door gently. There he was. My grandson, out cold, breathing slow and steady, tiny, perfect. He looked like something out of a dream. I just stood there in silence, soaking it in. I knew this was it, the last time I'd see him like this, small and new, before everything changed. I also knew I couldn't stay, not with them in the next room. I heard soft footsteps behind me. I didn't turn, didn't need to. I knew that walk. Katie stopped beside me, quiet, like that meant something now. She looked out at the baby in the crib like we were still some team, like she hadn't nuked 30 years of marriage for a midlife reboot. "We've got a beautiful grandson, Tom," she whispered, like that made everything okay. I kept my eyes on the kid, heart heavy, jaw tight. "Yeah, Katie. But let me ask you something." I turned just enough to hit her with it. "Who's he gonna call Grandpa? Me? Or the clown you ran off with? Or both of us?" She blinked like I'd slapped her. "Why would you say something so damn stupid?" she snapped. "You're his grandfather. You always will be." I shook my head, bitter smile creeping in. "You sure? 'Cause you seem pretty quick to swap out husbands. Can't help but wonder if Grandpa's next on your replacement list." She went quiet. I didn't wait for a comeback. Just muttered as I walked out. "Let's hope you're right, Katie. For the kid's sake." Didn't look back. Didn't give her the satisfaction. The next few hours felt like something out of a weird dream. Frank and I stuck to small talk, keeping it light, while Joan, Greg, and Katie were caught up in their own little bubble. They laughed too easily, talked too much, acted like nothing in the world could touch them. What hit hardest was how easily Joan seemed pulled in by Greg's charm, like she didn't even see it happening. Meanwhile, Frank looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. I leaned over and whispered, "Hang tight, son, everything changes tonight." His eyes flicked up, full of hope. "God, I hope you're right. I can't keep watching that clown cozy up to my wife like he's part of the family. At this rate, he'll be holding her hand next." Dinner came. The food was solid. Joan always knew how to throw down in the kitchen. But the vibe? Dead. I kept my mouth shut. So did Frank. The only one who wouldn't shut up was Greg, running his mouth about his war stories and all the brave things he did. Real movie hero stuff. He was eating it up, talking like he was auditioning for his own action figure. And Katie and Joan? Just soaking it all in, like his little fan club. I sat there nodding, chewing, feeling the nausea rise every time Greg called himself disciplined or humble. After dinner, Joan brought the baby out into the living room, and we all circled around. I looked at the scene in front of me, my broken family, sitting together like nothing was broken. I knew then. This was the last holiday like this I'd ever sit through. Then came gift time. Joan handed them out with a smile like it was all normal. Katie got a soft gray sweater. Greg got a generic gift card, probably to some sporting goods store. Me, I got a tie. A basic, plain, off-the-rack tie. Felt like a metaphor for how they saw me. Practical, predictable, and just there. Frank, Joan, and the baby opened theirs next. Joan was giggling. Frank, politely silent, playing the part but distant, checked out. Then everything got quiet. All eyes turned to me and the bag I'd brought in. I stood up slowly and cleared my throat. I thought I'd close out this beautiful Christmas with a few gifts I think each of you truly deserve. I reached into the bag and handed a large wrapped envelope to Joan and Frank. Joan tore the wrapping open like a kid. Frank stayed still, cautious. Joan pulled the papers out and started reading. Her eyes grew wide, then lit up. "Oh my God," she gasped. "Mom, Dad gave us your house, paid off, no mortgage. We can move out of this rental. I can't believe this." Frank was still in shock. I looked over at Katie. She was stiff in her seat, jaw tightening. She turned toward me slowly, eyes full of questions. "Why would you do that, Tom?" she asked, voice sharp with suspicion. "Where are you going to live?" I looked her straight in the eye. No smile, no softness. Don't worry about me, Katie. I've got it covered. Then I pulled a smaller box from the bag. This one's for you. For a moment, just a second, there was a flicker of something on her face. Hope, maybe. She peeled the wrapping off carefully, opened the box, and found a delicate silver bracelet resting inside. She picked it up, confused. It's beautiful. I leaned in, voice low but clear. Look inside, Kat. I had it engraved. She turned it over, and when she saw the inscription, her mouth opened just a little. She didn't speak. The inside read, "Thank you for the best 30 years of my life." Tom Gregg looked like he just bit into a rotten lemon while she read the card. Katie turned to me, confused. Tom, thank you. It's beautiful, but why didn't you sign it with love? I sipped my drink, calm. Didn't forget, Kat. I just didn't feel like lying. She blinked, caught off guard. See, the love? It's been bleeding out for months now. That bracelet? I nodded toward her wrist. It's not a gift, it's a goodbye. A shiny little reminder of what you threw away for that clown over there. Silence. Heavy. Even Joan didn't breathe. I reached back into the bag. Here. I handed her a manila envelope. You're getting served on Monday. Divorce papers are ready. Merry Christmas. Joan gasped. Katie's face twisted like she couldn't decide between crying or screaming. I kept my tone casual, businesslike. There's a card inside. I thanked you. For the good years, for our daughter. Also included a check, $195. That's what's left of our shared assets. I use the rest. Guess we all spend things differently, huh? I leaned slightly closer. House is mine. You bailed. That's in writing, too. Might want to read it before you start playing the sufferer. Then I turned to Greg, who was visibly grinding his teeth. And this, I pulled out another envelope and handed it to her. That's the full file. Background, records, all the crap your hero didn't tell you. Read it together. Could be romantic. Greg finally snapped. You son of a witch. I'll eliminate you. I didn't wait. Click. Zap. He hit the ground like a sack of bricks. Joan screamed. Katie shot up. I walked over, hit him again. Zap. Hurts, don't it? I said, standing over him. Now you know. 30 years with someone and you lose her to a meathead with a sob story? Sucks, huh? Katie sobbed like it changed anything. Yeah, I know, I said, turning to her. I'm boring. I don't spark like your G.I. Joe. But he curls your toes, right? I zapped him again. He twitched like a bug under a boot. I smiled. This never gets old. Katie was shaking, sobbing, gasping for air. This wasn't how it was supposed to go, she said through tears. I was coming back in June, Tom. I loved you. Yeah? I said, raising a brow. Well, guess what, Katie? I'm not your backup plan. You burned the bridge and pissed on the ashes. Joan moved to hug her mom. I didn't even blink. Greg groaned. Frank finally stepped forward, uneasy but serious. Dad, stop. You'll eliminate him. I looked down at Greg. He wasn't worth eliminating, just worth showing what rock bottom looked like. I nodded, stepped back. All right, I said quietly. I'm done. Thanks for the memories, and for the warning shot, reminding me not to ever trust forever again. Katie and Joan stared at me like they'd never seen me before. They hadn't. Frank brought my coat. He didn't say much, just handed it over with this little smirk. He got it. Before I walked out, I looked at Joan, really looked. She had fear in her eyes, first time ever. Joan, I said calmly, take this as a lesson. If you ever pull the same stunt your mom did, you'll lose everything. Husband, home, peace, and worst of all, your soul. I walked to the cradle. Little Tom was staring up at me, wide-eyed. I brushed his cheek once. Bye, kiddo. Maybe someday, but let's not count on it. Then I turned toward the door, still calm, still smiling. Happy New Year. As I walked out to the car, I heard it. Faint at first, but clear enough to stop me mid-step. A voice from inside the house, raw and broken. It was Katie. She'd either snapped out of the daze or that clown finally figured out what just hit him. But I could hear her yelling, full of panic. No, this isn't happening, not to me! I didn't even flinch. Slid into the driver's seat, fired up the engine. Vegas wasn't far out of the way on the route to Spokane. Figured maybe I'd swing by and see Miranda again. Tie up a few loose ends before starting over. As I backed down the driveway, Frank stepped outside, grinning like he'd just watched justice in real time. He waved. I gave him a nod and waved back. Then I turned the wheel west and hit the gas. No more drama, no more pretending. Just the road, the horizon, and the next chapter waiting.